I want to platinum 1000 games so I can put it on my tombstone. I am currently on 358, so I have a couple more years before the carpal tunnel kicks in and my brain starts to rot. Today we are getting the platinum on Fallout 3. This game is special to me because it's the game that started my completionist journey all the way back in 2008. It's actually crazy that I've been doing this for 16 years already. It feels like just yesterday I was sat using a Fallout 3 Game of the Year book to find all the bobbleheads. But this time around, it felt even more buggy than before. It is a Bethesda game, so it's full of glitches and constant crashes, but still, this aged so badly. But you know how it goes, once we pop the first trophy, we have to platinum it. The majority of the trophies in Fallout 3 are pretty straightforward, but there is some missable trophies, so I will be using a guide the whole way through the game. The main trophies I'll be looking out for are the ones for having certain karma levels when turning level 8, 14 and 20. I'll also have to be mindful of the 10 main quests and side quests that you can easily mess up on. And lastly, there is some bobbleheads you need to collect which are missable, which you'll see later that I still messed up on. Let's get into the game though, which starts with us being born, and then we pick our name, which obviously I've got to pick Kiwi, which shows how much I've matured as an adult. Because when I was younger, I called myself twat or something even worse. We then pick what our character will look like, and to be honest I instantly realised how outdated this game is. Just look how smooth this 720p quality is. We then skip 9 years into the future and it is now our 10th birthday party, where we get our first trophy, which is for getting our Pip-Boy. We skip another 6 years and we're now doing the GOAT test.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
No, not that GOAT test. This one stands for Generalized Occupational Aptitude Test. Yeah, I said those big words. The test just basically finds out what we'll be doing as our job in the vault. And after we finish the test, we pop a trophy for it. Another 3 years later, and we're woken up to finding out that our father has left the vault to get some milk.
Got milk?
We then have to chase after him so that we're not killed by the vault overseer. We make our escape from the vault, and once we step outside, we unlock a trophy. We then wander around the wasteland for a while till we find the first city in Fallout 3, which is called Megaton. Here we will speak to loads of characters, but the main character we need is Colin Moriarty, and he tells us that our dad came through Megaton and has now gone southeast to speak to whoever runs the Galaxy News radio station. We leave Megaton and chase after our dad, till we end up at Galaxy News Radio and meet Free Dog. He tells us that he spoke to our dad, but before he can help us, he needs our help to find a new relay dish, which can be found in the Museum of Technology. After finishing our talk with Free Dog, we complete the quest and pop a trophy. Now we head to the Museum of Technology and collect the relay dish, and then install it into the broadcast tower. We finally head back to Free Dog, and he tells us that our dad mentioned about going to visit a Dr. Lee, who is in Rivet City. So yep, you guessed it, we're now heading there to find our dad. Before we go there, we complete another story quest and pop a trophy. We make our way to Rivet City and find Dr. Lee, who tells us, yes, he guessed right again, he's not here and he's headed off to our old lab located somewhere inside Old Jefferson Memorial. We head there and inside we find some holotapes from Dad that says he is trying to find a Gek, which is basically why he left the vault, because if you can find the Gek, you can then use that to purify all the water in the wasteland. So off we go to Vault 112, because that's where he thinks he can find it. Once inside Vault 112, we need to find something called a Tranquility Lounger, which takes us into a virtual reality program, and we pop a trophy. Inside we play a game for a little girl named Betty, who turns out to be the person our dad is trying to find. And whilst he's trying to find him, he got trapped inside the virtual reality and was turned into a dog. We rescue him from inside the virtual reality, and once we speak to him outside, we finish another quest. We then go back to the old Jefferson Memorial and help our dad set up the laboratory. But before we can finish, the Enclave attacks us and takes over the laboratory. They then corner our dad, and before they can steal the research on Project Purity, our dad sacrifices himself. We escape through the sewers and make our way to the Brotherhood of Steel, and we then pop another quest trophy. And we also get another trophy for getting level 8. Now we need to go back to an earlier save so we can get the other 2 trophies for getting level 8. All we need to do to get the other 2 trophies is lower our karma, which we can easily do by killing people in Megaton. So the first trophy we get is for having neutral karma and then turning level 8. And then another one for having evil karma. We then go back to the main mission and we speak to the Brotherhood of Steel, who tells us that they have located a Gek somewhere inside Vault 87. We then make our way there, but before going in, we pop another story trophy. After retrieving the Gek, Just before we can take it back to the Brother of Steel, we are captured by the Enclave and taken back to their base for interrogation. We then pop another story trophy. We are now tasked with escaping imprisonment, but here's when I learn a valuable lesson. Don't do a main quest story without checking the guide, because my young self completely forgot that during this mission. Just before going through this door, there's a sneaky bobblehead I was meant to collect, and if I went through the door without collecting it, it becomes unobtainable. So I had to reload my save from much earlier, which meant I lost about 3 hours of progress. But finally, I collect the bobblehead and we carry on with our escape. After escaping the Enclave base, we head back to the Brotherhood of Steel. And after we tell them the news of the Enclave having the Gek, we prepare for war. But let's put that on hold, because if we finish this mission, the story is complete and we're locked out on every other trophy. Before we can move on with the rest of the game though, I complete the main quest from earlier, which unlocks the trophy. We now need to do 18 side quests, but because most of the quests aren't that great, I'll just give them a quick explanation and move on to the next. So the first quest we complete is Big Trouble in Big Town. Some of the residents of Big Town have been captured by the super mutants, and we have to go free them and take them back. Next is Tenpenny Tower, where some ghouls want to live in the posh tower, but the owner nor the residents are willing to let them in. So we negotiate between the humans and the ghouls to get them access, which I won't show but is a very bad idea. Next is Strictly Business. This quest has us enslaving 4 different people from around the wasteland for someone named Grouse. Rescue from Paradise is next, where we have to free some children from the same place where we enslaved other people. Okay, yeah, these two sound pretty crazy together. Wasteland Survival Guide is the next quest we do, and this one's a pretty lengthy one for a character named Maury, who wants us to do some dangerous research in the wasteland for her book. Before doing the next quest, we get to nearly level 14, which means we've got to do the same thing as before and pop the 3 trophies for level 14. The first one is for good karma, the second for neutral karma, and finally one for evil karma. This is, in my opinion, the longest quest in the game, which is Nuka-Cola Challenge, which is basic collectible hell. All we really need to do is collect 30 Nuka-Cola Quantums for Sierra, but these are all over the map and some of them are really difficult to find. The Power of Atom is our next quest, which I actually really enjoyed because it was short and fun. Basically, when you first enter Megaton, Sheriff Lucas wants us to disarm the nuclear bomb in the middle of Megaton. The Replicated Man is up next, and this is another fun storyline which has us tracking down an android for Dr. Zimmer in Rivet City. This quest also gives you an OP weapon that I will be using all the way to the end of the game. Oasis is up next. I'm not gonna lie, this quest kinda bored me. We just basically had to choose whether to kill the mutated tree or spare it so that villagers of Oasis can prosper from it. The next quest I do is You Gotta Shoot 'em in the Head. This is another boring one. This quest just has us finding and killing 4 different people for some keys who a character named Mr. Crowley needs. Next is my personal favourite side quest called Trouble on the Home Front, which has us going back to our home, Vault 101, to help Amata deal with her dad who has gone crazy since we left the vault. Next we do Riley's Rangers, where we meet a character called Riley who enlists us to find her missing squad, which was ambushed in the Statesman Hotel. This quest is very long and to be honest just annoying to do. Next is Superhuman Gambit. This is a really weird quest that has 2 characters who think they're superheroes terrorising a random time with constant fighting. So to stop the fighting I have to choose which one of them to kill. Before we can start our next quest, I pop a trophy for killing 300 creatures. Next is a quest for saving a young boy called Brian who tells us his town Greyditch has been taken over by loads of mutated fire ants, which we must destroy by finding their lair and killing the queen of the ants. Next is Head of State. This quest has us helping a group of slave captors from the Temple of the Union take control of the Lincoln Memorial so they can live there. Before we can get to the next quest, we pop a trophy for picklocking 50 locks. Blood Ties is up next, that has us saving a young man named Ian from a family of vampires. The next quest is Stealing Independence, which is for Abraham Washington, where he wants us to collect a document known as the Declaration of Independence. Agatha's Song is next, which is a quest for Agatha who wants us to find a violin that can be located in Vault 92. And that's it, all the side quests done, finally! Like I said, there is some fun ones in there, but there is a lot of boring quests and this part just really drags. I then decide to do some fast trophies, and the first one I get is for passing 50 speech challenges. And not too long after that, another trophy for placing a grenade whilst pickpocketing someone. We then go for 2 big trophies, with the first one for collecting 10 bobbleheads and then another for collecting 20 bobbleheads. Just after we collect all the bobbleheads, we pop the final trophies for getting level 20 whilst having a certain karma level. The next trophy we get is for finding 100 locations on the map, and then another for killing all the super mutant behemoths. We then hack 50 terminals for a trophy. Now it's time to go purge the wasteland to get a trophy for killing 300 humans. We get our final miscellaneous trophy, which is for crafting every weapon. Now it's finally time to go back to the main mission, where we attack the Enclave so we can stop them using the Gek. All we need to do is follow Optimus Prime to war and let him do all the work. We finally make it through the Enclave and we are given a choice whether to let our ally die to stop the Gek or we can sacrifice ourselves. So because I want maximum aura, or radiation in this case, I choose to sacrifice myself. The final credits roll and then we pop the final story related trophy. And then just after that, I'll platinum. And there it is, platinum 359. I really wish this game could have been longer, I enjoyed this so much. And that's it. Thank you if you got this far guys. I actually platinumed and scripted this game all the way back in June, but I just kept overthinking the video for too long. Fallout is a really special game to me, and I just felt like I could never do it justice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and maybe we should make this a yearly thing. Next year, Fallout New Vegas?